Hi, Andy XL back with another FIFA 2026 World Cup podcast, and it's day two of the round of 16. Sorry, day three of the round of 16 after England's magnificent victory over Mexico against all the odds last night. Um, let's look at today's games, and that starts with Portugal versus Spain, which is an Iberian derby to decide who represents that peninsula in the World Cup quarterfinals, Spain or Portugal. Spain came through the group phase as winners of their section, only dropping points to Cape Verde in their opening game due to the heroics of Cape Verde, in particular their goalkeeper. And then Spain easily saw off Austria in the round of 32. So their path to this stage may not have been the toughest, but they have a look of a team that is getting better as the tournament progresses. As we might expect from a Spanish tiki-taka type team, their attacking possession in their four games has been dominant: 65% against Cape Verde, 63% against Saudi Arabia, 57% against Uruguay, and 59% against Austria. Now, their actual possession is higher than those numbers. That's just the attacking possession numbers taken from FIFA's website. But that dominance has not been converted into a high number of shots and shots on target in their last two games against the more established teams. They have scored 8 goals in 4 games in this competition, but 7 of those came in 2 games against the Saudis and what in truth was not a very good Austrian team. So the question here is, can they create and take their chances against Portugal? Spain are yet to concede a goal in the tournament, though, and that dominance of possession means their defence has not been as thoroughly tested as others in this tournament. But they have now only conceded 4 goals in their last 14 games, so it's sure to be a tough nut to crack for Portugal for sure. When we look at Portugal, they emerged from Group K as runners-up behind Colombia, having drawn with the Colombians and DR Congo and thumped Uzbekistan. Then they got a late winner to overcome Croatia in what was a really close, technically high quality and exciting game to watch. They were the better team, as you would expect, against DR Congo and Uzbekistan, but were second best against Colombia, and as I say, were pretty evenly matched against Croatia. So overall, that form might indicate they will need to be a fair amount better than they have been so far if they're to beat Spain in this one. Portugal have scored 8 and conceded 2 in 4 games to date, but 5 of those goals came against a very poor Uzbekis team, so they're not showing goal scoring attributes against better opposition. So I would expect Spain to dominate possession and defensively play with a pretty high backline to reduce the threat offered by Cristiano Ronaldo, who does not have the legs to run away from defenders anymore. He more sort of stays within 30, 40 yards of the goal, waits for the ball to go past him, and then gets in the box for crosses and cutbacks, and then uses his obviously terrific technical ability and finishing qualities to maximise what he's got left. But can Spain create and score goals they need to win here? Well, they may just do so, as I don't think this Portuguese defence is all that great. But I think Portugal may also find a way to pierce this Spanish defence. In 6 of the last 7 meetings between these two nations, they finished as draws at the end of 90 minutes, and I can see another 90-minute draw occurring here as this goes to extra time after a 1-1 draw in 90 minutes. And then I'm going to take Spain with the deeper and younger squad to get a single goal in extra time to take them through to the quarterfinals. The second game of today is USA versus Belgium. So two of the co-hosts have now been knocked out in this round, Canada and Mexico last night. But can the USA keep the home fires flickering by beating Belgium? Well, they've been helped by some sort of cosy conversation between Donald Trump and his pal Gianni Infantino that has seen the red card given to Folarin Balogun that should have resulted in a one-game suspension. The red card stand, but the suspension be suspended. This stinks of gerrymandering from the powers that be to give the USA preferential treatment, and in my opinion is nothing short of a disgrace. I'm not discussing the merits of the red card. That was a decision made during the game, and once the red card's been given, the rules say that you're suspended for the next game. The red card hasn't been overturned, so neither should the suspension have been. Anyhow, back to the game. The USA have scored 8 and conceded 4 in winning their group, and 3 of the 4 they conceded came in the final group game where they fielded their backups against Turkey, having already won the group. Then they eased past Bosnia and Herzegovina 2-0, who were on one of the poorer teams to make the last 32. So their first choice team has played 3, won 3, scored 8 and conceded 1, but that was against poorer opposition than they will be up against in the form of Belgium. The US played 4 pre-tournament friendlies this year, beating Senegal 3-2, but losing to Germany, Portugal, and most notably Belgium. In those three losses, they scored three but conceded nine, and five of those were in a 5-2 loss to the Belgians. Now, I accept that neither team was at full strength and it was a friendly, but neither team were far from their best 11s. So Belgium will fancy their chances of a repeat win here. And this run of friendlies against decent or better opposition saw the USA concede 11 goals in 4 games, which is probably a more accurate reflection of their defensive qualities than rolling over softer opposition in this tournament to date. Belgium, though, have been disappointing in this tournament thus far. They were favourites to win Group G and did so, but only had one win and two draws to their name to just scrape home in that group, winning the only team to win a group with 5 points. Their win was an impressive 5-1 hammering of New Zealand in their last group game, following two subpar performances against Egypt and Iran. So it should have sent them into the round of 32 game off the back of that New Zealand performance with against Senegal with renewed confidence. But they looked dead and buried, trailing 2-0 to the Senegalese in the 85th minute before somehow Belgium managed to take it to extra time, then managed to nick the victory with a penalty in the 5th minute of injury time at the end of extra time. For me, these are two of the more unpredictable teams left in the competition. Are the US the team of this tournament, or are they still the team of their pre-tournament friendlies? There are more than rumblings of discontent in the Belgian camp. Jeremy Doku was surprisingly substituted in their round of 32 game, and as was Kevin De Bruyne. But Doku's reaction as he went off was there for all to see in terms of possible internal disharmony. But one thing I think is the case is that both of these teams are far better going forward than defending. So Balogun being available for the US here is a huge boost to them. And I would expect the USA to come out all guns blazing at the start of this game. And if they can get an early lead, that may well set them up. Sorry, and that may well set them up to go out on top. But doing so will leave them open to the counter attack, and the Belgians may well exploit that potential weakness. I really do not know which way to go on this one. It's pretty much a flip of the coin, and I've not sat on the fence in any of the games so far, but this is the one that I'm finding hardest to call. But I'm going to say, inspired by the home crowd and with fresher legs, having not had to play extra time in their last game, and with no disharmony showing in their camp, I'm going to take the USA to scrape home 3-2 in another thriller here. So that's today's action. I'll be back with my look at Argentina and Egypt and Switzerland, Colombia to round off the round of 16 tomorrow. I'll preview those games. See you later.